So the home games in the college football playoff, again, the top 4 seeds that have advanced to the quarterfinals: Arizona State out of the Big 12, Oregon out of the Big 10, Boise out of the Mountain West, Georgia out of the SEC. Those are your first round buys. The first round matchups: Clemson at Texas, Tennessee at Ohio State, SMU at Penn State, Indiana at Notre Dame. So your 4 home sites: Texas, beautiful climate this time of year; Ohio State freezing; Penn State freezing; Notre Dame freezing. But they get Indiana, who's used to cold weather. SMU might have a difficulty out at Penn State. It's not like Tennessee's Florida, but you got to go up to Ohio State. Those first round matchups are intriguing, Paul. Is there anyone in particular that catches your eye?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously Tennessee. I mean, because that is what I would call the only true mark. I mean, just must-see game. Um, I'm sorry, if Alabama had been in there, we were projecting an Alabama Notre Dame game. I mean, Clemson, Texas is interesting because there will be a lot of orange in that game. As far as Indiana Notre Dame, I don't know. I mean, I think the networks have a real. I don't know. I don't know if this is even out yet, but it's going to be really hard to force Notre Dame. I mean, which games do you put? I mean, you obviously put Tennessee, Ohio State in the most valuable slot, but after that,
Right.
or any of those games, that attractive.
And if you're Indiana, you're loving that you're going to South Bend,
Yeah,
Indiana. It's in your home state, kind of
what's
a
that
home
about?
game
Like
for
a
them.
10-minute drive?
Yeah, and it's interesting you bring that up because now when you look at the slate of playoff games, there's that first one on December 20th, prime time.
Right.
That's the only one being played that night. And then the following day, there's 3 games. There's 2 on TNT up against the NFL. And then there's the night one ABC prime time. And I would argue Saturday night ABC, that's probably the best slot of opening
Oh,
weekend.
yeah.
The second one I would argue is the Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. So it is going
Absolutely.
to be interesting to see what the network chooses to
Yeah, I
do,
mean,
which
clearly
to
there's a number one game, but what's the number two game?
number one to me, and it's a runaway. It's Tennessee, Ohio
Yeah,
State. I mean, that's the one
absolutely.
you throw, I think, Saturday night, primetime, ABC. If I'm going based on story and numbers, purely just story and ratings potential, I'm going Indiana, Notre Dame
Yeah,
on Friday night
I think you're right.
because that's the Cinderella and that's Notre Dame who gets eyeballs. And then you can fight over the rest: SMU, Penn State, Clemson, and Texas. Quickly, because I know we always forget about this because we go to the rankings. I'm interested in your thoughts on Championship Saturday, namely that SEC slug out between Georgia and Texas.
Yeah, I mean, it was a couple of weird things about it. There were empty seats. I haven't seen empty seats at that game in forever, and there were a lot of empty seats, Matt. Uh, it was just a miserable first half, but I think we made up for it in the second half. I mean, it was intriguing. Uh, and I thought it ended with just absolute drama. I mean, it's hard to
Yeah.
come up with a more incredible last couple of minutes. And that's what you will remember about the game. You won't remember suffering through the first half. I came out of it, so impressed with Kirby Smart and the Odyssey this year that he has been on, starting out number one and really not having a great team. I mean, he just got through so many different bumps and I came away with questions about Texas, like what is the
Yeah.
deal? Quinn Ewers never really rose to the occasion in that game yesterday. Carson Beck, I mean, I don't know how he even got the snap to hand it off to ETN.
That's a storyline now
Yeah,
because how hurt is he?
that is a great line. All the people going crazy last night comparing him to Jordan Travis before they won the game was really interesting. But I mean, I felt great for Kirby Smart because I mean, you don't feel sorry for a guy with 2 national championships in his pocket, but he did. And what probably the most interesting in the moment, I know this is not a big thing on the national level. But Matt, the fact that on the actual stage, while he was being interviewed by Laura, with Greg Sankey standing next to
Oh,
him, about to present him the trophy. And that's one of the biggest moments of the year. I mean, the SEC commissioner gives out the trophy to everybody, but how do you get any bigger than that? And Kirby Smart just put a dagger down. I was curious what you thought about that.
so the only saving grace Kirby got out of that shot at Greg Sankey and his team for putting him on the road every week, the only saving grace he got out of that is we had already switched networks to the ACC game.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So that didn't make
It
it
was not on
on
national
ABC.
TV. Okay.
No, added or because of the overtime, we had already moved on, and so if you saw
Okay.
it, it was on social media or something. That was his only saving
Yeah.
grace. And I can't imagine even today,
And
Charlie Hussier
in front of
or
15 million people, that would have been worse.
that could have been a problem. Yeah, and I'm sure that would not have been a nice handshake.